So every single real estate agent knows buyers are great, but listings, that's what every agent gets into the industry for. That's what every agent craves. After all, when you're leveraging your listings in the right way, you're going to get more leads. But what if you don't have any listings in the first place? The process is simple, but as always, it's about the execution, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, luckily, I've put together all of my years in real estate and about 30 years worth of experience of my friends and broker buddies on their sales and marketing experience and some of the best strategies in the business to get listings in any market. Also, just spoke with some of my senior agents about how they got their very first listings and what was the process they went to. Most of these tips that we're going to talk about are going to cost you nothing. They're about understanding process, and they're about understanding how to execute. I've included some deep dives that we're going to go into, some strategies, a few checklists, and even some scripts that can get you started today. And today's the day. This is when you want to kick off that phone battery and get it charged up and make sure that you can make as many phone calls as possible. So let's start with number one, your sphere of influence. And not because you need their business, but because scheduling regular calls with your sphere of influence is going to make sure your conversations are warm and appreciated. I don't care whether the ink is still wet on your real estate license or whether you've been a real estate agent for decades. There are proven ways on how to get listings in real estate that are easy, they're predictable, they're dependable, they're duplicatable, and efficient. But regular calls to your sphere of influence puts it all together. Every single person in your database, everyone, is a potential real estate seller lead. If you schedule a few folks every single week, and that's all it takes, it's not like you have to set yourself a goal of 100 calls a week as if you're in some type of call center. Schedule a few folks every single week so you can talk to most of your sphere about 4 times throughout the year, once a quarter. This is going to work especially well if you're a newer agent, because people in your sphere are most likely to trust you enough with their biggest investments if they know you are recently educated and they want to make sure that you can help them out. But please remember, this is the most important financial transaction of their life, but it really is as simple as a conversation. Don't worry, I'm not going to suggest that you give Aunt Tina the hard sell over the phone at dinner time, right? You need to call people in your sphere and talk to about your shared interest and connections, and add the one simple script at the end of the call. And Aunt Tina, if you know anybody that might be interested in selling their home, I would love to walk them through. I can help them with the fastest delivery and best pricing for their benefit. So how do you get started? You need to take everyone that's in your contact list and add it to your CRM. Your CRM should have a tagging option. You should be able to tag them all as sphere, so you know these are people that you have a personal connection to. Then you'll break them out. You'll talk about how well you know them. You'll create some tasks or what they call drip campaigns so that you can call at least one person that you know every single week, and they can get some type of email from you to support the conversations that you're having. These campaigns have follow-up calls as well as emails, potentially even a text if they are agreeable to that type of advertising for your services. Add some notes inside of your CRM and consider segmenting them even further if they mention anything about themselves or a friend that wants to eventually lead to a transaction. That goes from a cold call to a warm call pretty quick. Life changes are what you want to be looking for in these conversations. Are they retiring? Is someone getting a divorce in the family? Are they looking for a new job and may need to relocate? Are they in the military and they have some PCS orders that are coming through? These are all things that take all of the education that you're going to build on your experience with and turn it into usable tools for all of your family and all of your spheres benefit. Number two, you want to learn how to find hidden listing inventory that other agents are ignoring, either because they feel like they don't want to deal with that type of inventory or feel like they don't want to make those type of phone calls. And today I'm going to mix in with what I believe is the modern practices for doing all of this, as well as some of the old classics that most of the real estate agencies out there are still teaching you. Those are great. They still work, but not as effectively as the new and the modern ways that are expected of a real estate agent to perform, the ways that we market and we list ourselves and build our personal brand, and how that's going to help us get real estate inventory and new listings today. More and more, you want to be intelligent about all of the predictive analysis companies that are out there. These analytics are spectacular and they will help agents stay ahead of the curve. And it's about you being educated, again, in your local market, understanding that there are potential sellers before the competition understands it. And there's several overlooked properties out there that these analytics might be able to drive you to. Pre-foreclosures. While this strategy works best during an economic turndown, there's still always going to be a homeowner that falls behind on their payments, and they're going to need some help selling their home before the bank takes the actions to repossess. Probate listings. Working a probate listing can be incredibly stressful, but they work so incredibly well because you're offering a service of help. If you learn the process in your particular state, you will not only be competing. Let me rephrase that. You will only be competing with a handful of agents because these types of listings can be difficult. You may be dealing with many family members. The challenges of having those conversations, even though they are not the final decision maker on the home sale, can be stressful. You got to have the right state of mind, but they're out there and there's plenty of them. Rentals. Even though the rental market's booming, the viral popularity of real estate investing that we've seen over the last few years are going to allow for a ton of over-leveraged newbies who might need to sell. Let me explain myself. Because of the corporations and because of the big businesses that have been buying up so much rental property, they have the controlling price points and control the rental variances inside of communities. So if a friend of yours or a family member or a potential client has bought a property during that same time period, thinking they're going to break into the investment market, but they're surrounded by corporate pricing of rental properties, it's going to be very difficult for them to get their price point where they want it to be to make the margins and the profits that they were expecting to be able to pay. So help them sell their property so that they can get out in a position to maybe invest somewhere else where maybe not so much of that is going on, or invest in a second vacation home or something for themselves instead. Plus, don't forget about pay at closing leads, right? These are great ways to generate leads when you don't necessarily need to pay up front. You can use a site like sold.com, for example. I've had a lot of success with in the past. That'll help you get your brand out there and it'll help you get you out immediately. Check them out. It's free to register an account with them. When interested sellers on sold.com want to sell their home, if their situation matches your profile, you'll be matched up and that information will be passed on. Number 3, upgrade your follow-up game. I think I probably talk about this at one level or another in every one of my classes. You want to learn how to get real estate listings? It takes consistently being in front of your audience and multiple times a week. If you are generating a bunch of leads and you don't stay in touch with them, they are going to forget about you. It's an unfortunate truth. And there's a ton of other agents in line behind you that are willing to give them plenty of love. Lots of CRMs and systems are out there to help you keep track of this and to make absolutely sure you can do your follow-ups. You have to do your follow-ups not only with your current clients, and that's certainly one conversation, but with the clients that you plan on nurturing and the ones that you need that extra information on. And believe me, they hear from their friends more often than you do that, buddy, I got to sell my house, I'm having to leave, or girl, I am trying to move on with my life and get away from this man, and I am going to be moving forward, and I just need to sell the house and get done. They're going to hear all of that tea long before you do. And by making your normal nurturing phone calls or your normal sphere calls, those conversations are, I forgot to mention your name, but let me call them right now and let them know I've got an agent that they need to speak to. Most of listings are going to come from life events. You're going to want to consistently stay in touch with everybody that you know because your name needs to be top of mind when those kinds of things come up. You having the experience to talk through those services is going to be important. So this is your wake-up call. Lots of things are happening, lots of movement in the market. If your name is not top of mind with the people that you know, mine will be. Automating your follow-up is going to make a big difference too. Unlike using, just a big text message where you're going to have to do all this work yourself, chances are that your CRM or other tools that you may be using have some level of automation that will help you keep in touch with your leads until they're ready to convert. And if you're looking for an easy plug-and-play solution, there are a ton of them out there. Google them, but Google the list that rank them. They are ranked by certain things, by certain actions that they do, so that every single month you're getting cues from this CRM system or from this follow-up automation system that's going to help you do what needs to be done to keep you in touch and top of mind. Number 4, got to give it back to Facebook. Nobody blows up my phone quite like Facebook, and I enjoy opening up all of those little pings and whistles that I get throughout the day to see what my friends and my families are doing. And yes, that means that I have been in this industry long enough to have a bunch of friends that are in the real estate industry. So things they're doing are going to pop up in my feed as well. Nothing makes me feel better than being able to post some activity that I'm doing, or that I'm at a local restaurant, or that I'm at the beach, or that I'm showing some of the things that are great to live in Florida. And my friends call me saying, hey, saw your post on Facebook today. That was pretty cool. Where is that? How do I do it? You want to speed up a process like that, quickly find some leads that might turn into listings, spend the time and the effort, run effective Facebook ads, or at least at the very minimum, post what you're doing and where you are in some of the neighborhoods. Google display network ads are your best bet as well. They do really well on this. And yes, running optimized advertising is going to cost you a little bit of money, dominate some of your time, but the potential rewards here are massive. The inexpensive cost of the per ad or the per touch that happens when you put one of those ads in front of a circular area rather than trying to blast the entire state you're doing business in is going to increase your chances, because the optimization learns and it works what doesn't. And these companies like Facebook make the changes necessary to make sure your advertising gets in front of the right people. You don't have that experience. Let them do the work for you. It might surprise you to know that pretty much every single lead generation service that agents pay for uses the same strategies. They generate the same types of leads online. They create the offer of value, the personal home evaluation or home maintenance checklist, or things that I can help you do as a real estate agent that you don't want to do as a home seller yourself. It's simple to design a small ad. These tools that are built into these products already will do most of the work for you as long as you've got a couple of nice, high quality photos, which we'll talk about in a minute. Continue optimize them. Learn how to lead magnet until you get some high quality leads and a price per lead that you're comfortable with. Want to get an affordable buyer lead too? Great. While you're working for your listings, trust me, buyer leads show up. They're going to do all of the work for you simply by showing up and seeing your advertisement. Everybody knows that if you're selling houses, you could probably help them buy one too. Number 5, you can purchase exclusive seller leads from companies too. They are not great quality, but again, you get in front of enough people, it's going to help you improve your conversation, improve your skill set when you're talking directly to clients, help make sure the vocabulary is smooth, your eye contact works well, you being able to produce nice marketing materials to leave behind with your clients are going to go a long way to your success. You might consider even outsourcing some of your lead gen strategy that way so that you can utilize your budget of success to consistently build more listings and ultimately buyer leads too. It takes one closing from all of this effort to pay for a year's worth of exclusive lead gen. Conversion training is a little bit more complicated, but you can come here and we give you free classes online. And if you really want the benefits of our services as a brokerage, come join us. We have in exclusive classes and detailed deep dive courses as to what you're doing in your business that we can help you do better, stronger, strengthen your skill set, and make sure that when you're in front of your client, you are always on your A game. Number 6, here's an oldie but a goodie. FSBOs, the right way. You need to learn how to prospect FSBOs. For those of you that are clients listening to the class, I know I've got a lot of them because I've got more client questions than I ever get realtor questions, especially on our live feed. And thank you for that. Keep those questions coming. I'll hit those at the end of the class today. No matter what's happening in the market, there are always going to be people who think they can get a better deal or pocket more of their money by listing it themselves. Sold my own home 20 years ago. I know the process. I know what I'm going to do. They don't. They're not going to do it better than you. And you're smart enough to walk them through a polite conversation to show them why. 30-second Google search or a chat with literally anybody, even remotely familiar with real estate, is going to tell them that they absolutely can't sell their home themselves for the maximum pricing, much less negotiate against a hardcore realtor on the buyer side. A realtor will eat an individual person's lunch when it comes to sales negotiations. That's what's going to make a FSBO a great source for a listing in any market, even if we ever go into a recession. How do you get started with something like FSBO running? 2 easy ways that I think you can always beat the competition. It relies on simple psychological principles that allow you to help understand FSBO's needs and help understand how FSBOs need to meet with you. Practice, practice, practice your conversational scripts. Then practice some more. Having the right scripts is not enough. You being able to execute on the scripts and being able to move within the script, understanding what you need to say next based on their objection is important. There's no perfect way to do it without practicing it, period. Get some great scripts. There's a lot of them out there. Chris Linzel's FSBO scripts that are out there, you can Google that, are fantastic. And you'll enjoy how he gets in and out of some of the challenges of those cold call conversations. Leverage FOMO when you are writing copies for flyers, postcards, letters. The fear of missing out is one of the most convincing motivations for stubborn FSBOs. Show them that they're leaving money on the table. Show them that while you must be subtle to avoid not to scare them off, but you put a listing on the phone and show and tell them about the experiences and some of the horror stories that have come with you being an agent selling a property. They may not want to invest the time and the energy, much less the liability that they may be putting themselves in. Great FSBO flyer that I saw this week is, what would it be like to sell your home and lose $55,000 in the process? That's the headline. The rest of it goes on to just display with my friend Bob, and this is what happened to him trying to sell his home himself. Please don't be Bob. Let me help you. My services are not a requirement for you making this phone call. Call me for support. Great header. Uses a little bit of fear factor, which I try to avoid typically in my sales pitches. But if it'll get them to the phone to call you, thinking they can get some experience behind them in selling their property themselves, go for it. It'd be a fun Facebook ad. I'm trying to figure out how to do it and incorporate it with Halloween. Don't get the spirit scared out of you. Call your local real estate agent for some true advice on how to sell during the holidays. Number 7, you need to collaborate more. You are not in a silo, and you shouldn't be working that way. You can join a team. You can help a junior agent. You can find a mentor yourself. And again, I don't care if your bright shiny license card is just come out of the box or if you've been doing this for 2 decades. This is about becoming better in your craft, honing your skills. You watch all that TikTok crap of how open a cereal box, and I didn't know how to open a cereal box properly until I saw an ad today. Trust me, working in real estate's exactly the same way. Yes, we all know the basic principles and the ways to sell houses, but there's a reason that we are better agents than 99% of the agents that are out there, and it's because we understand what goes wrong, and we can help see around corners for our clients, and we can help keep them out of that fog and that muck and the mire of the swampy process that is the real estate sale. New agents trying to build their brand should not have to try to crush it alone. That's why they have to work with a brokerage. That's why they need to get a brokerage with good training. That's why they need to have access to a broker so they can get some one-on-one time and they can become better agents. Here at Keystone, we are all about that, making you better at what you already do, giving you access to professional opinions that will help you get out of your own head and help you execute against something that you need to do. What's the difference? Hyper-logical market knowledge. I'm going to write that on a postcard because I love that word so much. The best agents know how to generate listings in every area better than anyone else because, most importantly, because they know everything about their community. Everything. They can spill the tea. They can tell you where the parties are. They can tell you where the family planning centers are. They can tell you where you walk your dog on a Sunday, but not on a Saturday. They can tell you the best ways to get to the sporting events without having to worry about the traffic because they've been driving these roads since they were in school. If you can't be the area expert yet because you haven't lived in that area so long, absolutely get a mentor that can help you manufacture intelligence behind what you're talking about in front of your clients. Try out a couple of different mentors. Try out a couple of different teams. Join a smaller brokerage that understands that my time is valuable so they can give you some individualized attention. There's a reason that smaller classrooms in school when you were a kid were more effective, so you got more one-on-one time with a teacher. Smaller, pristine brokerages, yes, like Keystone, allow you to get in front of the broker, allow you to get in front of executive leadership, allow you to hear from true experts that don't need and don't want to work for a big brand because they have more capability, more flexibility for their clients, and they can spread their wings and challenge the industry to do what's best for themselves and for their clients. I was incredibly lucky when I got involved in my career in real estate. I found people that believed in me. I found mentors that cared to work with me, and I got a following very quickly on people who trusted that I was going to learn everything I needed to know to be the very best. And because of it, it allowed me to have the confidence to consistently push for listings. And in return, I also got buyers. From there, I was able to leverage and advertise all of that knowledge in my open houses and my postcard mailers and any other listing that became circular advertising in those areas. Pro tip, most team leaders are happy to mentor you if you'll join their team as a junior agent. most of the top producing listing agents eventually start their own team if they haven't started one already. So finding a solo agent to mentor you may be hard, but it is not impossible. And your broker can typically guide you in the right direction. Ask your managing broker or find a few solo listing agents on your own. Offer to buy them a cup of coffee and just pick their brain about what's working and are they willing to work with you. Number 8, again, an oldie but a goodie. It's not going to go away, but you have to be careful with this one. Door knocking. Door knock in the neighborhoods that you want to work in. Again, when you're out looking for a real job, or when you're out working for what I should say a traditional job, you didn't just drop an application everywhere. You dug around and put your applications where you wanted to work. Real estate is no different. You need to advertise and you need to door knock in a neighborhood where you actually want to have listings. Every time I mention door knocking to new agents, I can hear the voices in my head right now. The more I say it, eyes light up with fear. Everybody wants to change the subject. Everybody wants to tell me they're going to do it, but when Sunday afternoon rolls around, they're gone. They find excuses. They're hunched over their laptops trying to figure out how to go viral on Instagram. This is a huge mistake. Door knocking is one of the best ways to show homeowners you're confident, you're market savvy, and you're willing to get them the best pricing on their home, especially if you already have a listing in the neighborhood. That should be stop number 1. You want to get good listings, you need to get over this fear of door knocking and face-to-face influence. That moves on straight to these types of video calls where you're confident in getting in front of your client and teaching others how to be successful. Again, learn a few scripts, practice. Your FSBO conversations are going to come in very handy here. You cannot go wrong with some very simple door knocking scripts until you get used to talking to a complete stranger when you're knocking on a door. What's funny about all of you is that every single one of your schools made you sell chocolate bars when you were kids. All of you. Not one of you on this call will tell me you didn't sell chocolate bars or Girl Scout cookies or something like that. You were willing to talk to a complete stranger in front of a grocery store as a kid. What changed? What made you stop being the best salesperson on the planet? Get out of the chair, get your fat ass up, and go talk to a client. A client that can make you potentially upwards of, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5% of a listing because they trust in you and they're going to appreciate that you talked to them cold without some type of introduction. Number 9, once you've picked that farm area, that golden neighborhood that you want to work in, stick to it. It's not going to become a gold mine overnight. You're going to have to dig a little while. You're going to have to prospect for months, potentially years. But again, please remember the ROI on this. It takes one sold listing in a community to pay for years of advertising in that same community. Most agents really like farming. It's a whole lot easier. You send a few mailers, you won't see anything back. You won't know that you're going to throw money down the drain, 100 out to 1 of those postcards that you're building. But you're not wrong in the targeting phenomena. Don't pick large neighborhoods of more than 250, or let me rephrase that. If you pick a large community of more than 250 homes, select specifically 200 or less. Don't go after every house in the neighborhood. Pick a corner of the neighborhood. Footprint can expand from there. Pick an area near the clubhouse, near the amenities, near all of the conveniences of the community if you need to, closest to the Starbucks. Whatever it takes, something that you can grab onto that you'll help sell the homes faster. Use multiple channels of touch so that those people see a postcard from you, get an occasional text message, get a blind letter from you, and sometimes a blind phone call too would be nice. You can utilize plenty of print marketing out there. You do not have to be an advertising magnate and spend all your time and money learning how to be an advertising marketing expert. You could just use something someone else has. Put your name and your logo on it. If you get up a little bit of money where you can do some full event hosting, do a pumpkin patch or a 4th of July barbecue in the neighborhood and invite the neighbors. If you're looking for a full breakdown of real estate farming, you need to call us and you need to talk to us directly. Again, we've got some inside subscription courses that you can talk to us about that really help you dive into some direct ideas on what you have to do. Number 10, focus on your mission, your vision, and your values. I'm going to throw you back to what kind of real estate agent are you up here? This is a great course to help you define who you are and what type of niche you should be running after. If you're a regular close subscriber, you're probably sick of me saying this, but focusing on your mission, vision, and values should be your priority even before you're thinking about getting the listing. If you don't know who you are and you don't know what kind of business you're running, how the hell are you going to promote yourself in front of a client? I realize you've probably done this work already. You may want to revisit your MVV if you want more listings, but take a step back, really think it through. How are you uniquely positioned to help sellers in today's market? If they just want somebody to open doors and walk through transactions, they can literally hire anyone. But working homeowners is much more complicated as a listing agent. You need to be the best in brand. You need to have a broker that is supportive. You need to have a brokerage that is not afraid to represent you and that makes you look good. They are present when you're not, so they can make absolutely sure that if a client needs to make a phone call and you are busy with another customer, they have someone to reach out to, and they're going to get the best of the best answers that bring the client right back to the table with you and elevate that confidence in the conversations that they're having. A homeowner's choice of a real estate agent is typically driven more by what you offer and how your services benefit them. You can't be everything to everyone. That's why focusing on your MVV is a crucial step in making sure the right sellers are resonating with you and want to hire you. Yes, there's a lot of profiling involved in this. If you are older, you may work better with older people because they're relatable. If you are younger, you may work better with younger people because you're relatable. If you are middle-aged or a family person or a car lover, again, those are your people. Try to find the easiest connection. That doesn't mean that's the only real estate agent you are. That means that's your go-to audience, that those are the ones that you should naturally get the most support from because they're kind of like you. Pro tip, carve out a few hours every single weekend and really think through what value you can offer your sellers. These are not buyer conversations. Sellers need to understand what's your mission. What do you do? Put this down where they can see it. And when you drop your leave behind materials, your MVV should be a single page by itself. I don't care if it's just 3 words, but your mission, your vision, your values for how you are the best agent for them is what's going to make the biggest impact to your relationship. Number 11, send out some postcards. I know it's cumbersome to design these. I know it's a pain to write up the addresses. There are plenty of services that can do this for you, but do it. If you're going to use a golden neighborhood technique and a style of marketing, you have to have your presence in front of the client. And yes, I'm going to say it this way. Put your picture on the postcard because when they see you walking through their neighborhood, if you door knock, if they get a phone call from you in the blind, they want a face to associate with the voice. It makes you relatable. And yeah, wear something fun. Sorry, you're not going to be able to go door knocking in the state of Florida in your real estate suit. It's not going to happen. Wear something comfortable. God knows we've got enough golf courses, so we've got enough sporting goods stores that sell nice golf clothes. You still want to look sharp. You still want to understand that you're at work, and that should present a presence in the way you're dressing for success. But when you're knocking on the door, it's realistic for you to have just a lightweight polo. Ladies, you too, a lightweight polo and something that's not too revealing so that clients aren't afraid to work with you or aren't afraid to let their husband or wife talk to you. Men, if you're incredibly attractive, dress it down a little bit, gentlemen. You do not want other men in the house having a problem with you talking to their wife about selling their home. You just don't. Number 12, open houses. They are back, and they are back with a vengeance. Why? Because there's a stigma that open houses sell houses. They don't. They simply don't. The numbers have never supported it. They are a value to the real estate agent, and they are a value to the homeowner because they feel like their real estate agent is working. It's crazy how this stigma has gotten out there. But if I don't do an open house for you and your house is on the market for 6 days, obviously, as a real estate agent, I'm not doing anything to be successful in representing your home. They're not taking into consideration that if I do and I spend the money and I spend the time on an open house, that they may not see very many people show up. Feel free to come to my other class on how to make open houses successful and how you market them in advance and not these last minute drops on the internet, and so that you can just shut your client up. Not okay. But converting open house visitors, that is a very real scenario for those of you that are out there trying to lead generate. If there is a strategy that agents love to hate, it's open houses. Many of the listing agents don't even bother. Brand new agents think they're a waste of time, but they haven't experienced them yet. But one group adores open houses, and it's nosy neighbors who own the nearby homes. So again, if you're prospecting in a golden neighborhood, this is exactly what you want. This is your go-to audience. I know what you're thinking. The odds of having a neighbor who needs to sell their house tomorrow showing up at your open house is slim to none. But this strategy means you meet homeowners that are immediately in that neighborhood. It is the perfect excuse for you to test your scripts, for you to talk about real estate. And more than that, you're going to meet all of your neighborhood experts that are going to be against you when you're busy trying to sell other houses. Still not convinced? Open houses are a fantastic way of getting a listing. I'm here to tell you, a large percentage of the listings that I have had have come from open houses in that same community. Open houses have always been an opportunity to pick up a buyer or two and to pick up even more listing opportunities. I wish I had thought about it in a better way or had been mentored in a way when I first got into my career that I did it more often, that I would enjoy it more. And even if you're stuck in a slow open house because it's in an area that doesn't get a lot of traffic or you got rained out or something like that, sit down in your open house, whip out the laptop, get some other work done. Do some cold calling while people are walking in, seeing you're busy talking about real estate. But get off of the TikTok unless you're actually doing marketing and advertising while you're there too. Number 13, use a listing appointment checklist and scripts to help seal the deal. I don't care if you are the LeBron James of generating seller leads. They are not much use to you if you can't close them and actually list the house. That's why learning the art and the science of running a listing presentation can help persuade you and persuade them that hiring you is an essential practice. A few steps for delivering a great listing presentation. Make sure you know as much as possible about the listing itself and the comps in the neighborhood. The immediate, newest, latest, and greatest comps in the neighborhood. Create a listing marketing plan. You may not have to execute against everything on your plan, but the fact that you have one and know what skill set you need to execute against those is crucial. Practice, practice, practice. Rehearse your presentation until you can deliver it smoothly and confidently on camera in front of anyone. Learn the most common objections that sellers have to working with agents and use the objection handlers that we've discussed in previous classes to address them confidently. And number 5, your team leader or your mentor should be invited to help shadow and you should bring them on as many listing appointments as you can. You may have to cut them in to the profits, but the experience they can add, and by helping you get that warm close to a hot close, is going to make a huge difference to you. Lots of strategies out there. There are 100 different ways of how you're going to be able to change and relate better to listing clients and help you get those in there. Don't be afraid to reach out. Throw them in the comments below. Make sure that we understand that here's something that is or isn't working in your community. Maybe we can have a conversation and turn you into the very best of the best as well. Have a great day, everybody. Good, strong weekend. It's going to be some beautiful weather here in Southern Florida, and we are looking out there of doing a little give back work as well as doing a little bit of listing prospecting as our local real estate experts. Peace. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for coming.